Welcome back, KBR Sports family. Welcome back to the KBR Sports YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be diving into LeBron's first iconic playoff performance in his NBA career. So make sure you guys stay tuned and we'll get right to it. Alright guys, thanks for tuning into today's KBR Sports YouTube video. If you are not already a part of the family, make sure you guys go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that way you don't miss any future KBR Sports YouTube videos, as well as hitting the like button down below. And make sure, I almost forgot. Make sure when you hit the subscribe button that you are also hitting the notification bell so that way you don't miss any future videos and posts. Did you do it yet? I'm gonna wait for you to do it. I mean, if you haven't, I got time. Okay, you should have done it by now. I believe in you. I believe you did it. If you're watching this for the first time, your first time joining the KBR Sports YouTube channel, I believe you're a good person. You hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Once you hit the subscribe button and you hit the notification bell, you're commenting down below so that way you can get a shout out of whatever social media platform you want to be shouted out, whether it be your Instagram, Snapchat. Include that in your comments so that way I know to shout you guys out on there. But like I said earlier, today's video, LeBron's first iconic playoff performance, y'all. And I mean, this is the game that really, we all know who LeBron James was, and we knew that obviously LeBron was a serious potential threat to becoming the greatest of all time in terms of his talent and how good people believed LeBron was. But a lot of people were doubting LeBron in a lot of ways. They were like, oh, can this guy really step up in winning time? Because that was a lot of what the critique was about LeBron at that time, was did he have that clutch gene? Was LeBron able to bring it home when the team needed him to do so most? That's part of the reason why I wanted to dive into this game, because it was really interesting to me to think about, okay, now we see what LeBron's become, but really when you got to take it back to what was his first really validating moment. And at that time, that was back in 2007, and this performance led to the Cavaliers getting to their first NBA finals under LeBron James, and his first finals at the age of 22 years old. And it's honestly one of the most remarkable performances you'll see. And there's just a few cliff notes I wanted to give you guys going in to realize the context of the game, because the series was tied at 2-2, and it was game 5, and it was in Detroit. Okay, so this is a road game, and the pressure was on in the biggest way that you can imagine. In the fourth quarters, based on the cities, in Detroit in game 1, LeBron was 1 of 3 in the fourth quarter, and then in game 2, he was 2 of 7 for the fourth quarter. So that kind of just paints you a picture of how people were kind of like, okay, LeBron's not really showing up when we need him to show up in these games and in the big moments. So that's why it was like the scope was so much more on LeBron in these moments. And when you look at the two teams, the Cleveland Cavaliers were 4th in defensive efficiency, and the Pistons were 5th, and they were the number 1 seed in the NBA. All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it.
James to the crossover. It counts, and the foul. What a move by LeBron James. Wow.
You know the crazy thing about that bucket right there is that he takes that in, and it's like he makes it look effortless against that Pistons team. And he did that. He scored that bucket against Rip Hamilton, and Rip Hamilton even said in a quote when he talked about it, they covered this game again like 10 years later, and Rip Hamilton says in a quote pretty much saying this guy was unstoppable, and we didn't even realize he had scored as many points as he did as it was happening. They just said that they were of the mindset of, okay, nobody else. They didn't because they didn't actively realize, hey, he's scoring a bunch of points. It wasn't one of those things where they're like, we have to get the ball out of LeBron's hands. They were just like, oh crap, he has a lot of points at this point at the end of the game.
From downtown, and Seal defending on James. LeBron with the step back stops.
Sheesh. Like that, it's athleticism, man. And you know the crazy thing is, I love about watching young LeBron is that you kind of forget sometimes how athletic he could be, and in ways you were just like, oh my gosh, like this guy is a freaking monster. And he was just so fast, he was so aggressive with the way he attacked the basket, and some of the dunks that he would throw down were just so impressive. And one thing that I will say, because that's always an iconic play that I always remember Marv Albert doing the call, and LeBron with the showdown stuff. But
stop it, get some help.
The crazy thing is, we saw it when the score was 81 and it was 81-88. And from that point on, I think the only other person literally, 'cause I went back and rewatched the whole game. And so if you're watching the pacing of the game, I'm only doing the fourth quarter, because if we were doing the whole game, we'd be here forever. But the pacing of the game was just so funny, because you literally see LeBron switch go off. Like, he just starts getting super aggressive, and he starts trying to get to the line and just attacking the basket every single time down. And when they say, you'll see, okay? So just keep in mind, the only other person to score is Drew Gooden when he hits a free throw to make it 84-88 or 84-89, one of the two. But that's the only person the other person to score after this time period, okay?
James with the step, and the game is tied at 91.
He wondered if he was going to go back to the basket. He goes back with a vengeance, back-to-back slam dunks. Here, let's see if he can just rediscover that free throw shooting touch.
This time LeBron hits on both. Here's James off the pass.
He was everything for Cleveland, man.
That time, and a nice play to put Eric Snow at the top and a little give and go. That
because what the Pistons started doing to him here is they started trapping him at half court. So they started trapping him at half court so he would give the ball up to somebody else. But it was just crazy from the standpoint of seeing it. Like, they really were just trying to find ways to get LeBron the ball, and in any way imaginable, they were like, okay, let's get LeBron the ball, let's get him in space moving, and then let's just find a way to get him to the rack so he can make one of his LeBron signature plays.
At the line. 16 of the last 17 Cleveland points scored by LeBron James. LeBron is now 9 for 30 at the line
of the last 17 points. Remember that.
A 1-point lead, shot clock to 5. James has to fire. And scores!
Oh my!
What a shot by LeBron James.
Like, the shots, man. Like, that's such a hard shot. Look at that.
No angle, and he drilled.
He goes around a double. Okay, look, hold on. And when I was watching this live, I'm just sitting there, I'm like, I've already seen this. But look at this. So he goes around a double team, a hard hedge, and he rounds it out, rises up, fading, and hits it. Now, here's the funny thing about this shot, right? Look at LeBron. Look at LeBron's eyes, right? He isn't thinking about passing to anybody. And it's not even in his thought process that he's passing the ball up or giving the ball up to anybody. This is normally a point in time where you would say, oh, LeBron's going to make the correct play. He's going to make the right pass or whatever the case might be. He might swing it over here to I don't know who that dude is in the corner. If it's Sasa Pavlovich, I'm not sure, but he was swinging it over here to him, or he would throw it to Anderson Varejao. And funny thing about this season too, Boobie Gibson was a rookie. That's one of the things that also made me realize it was just so funny to go back and watch this whole thing. But Boobie Gibson was a rookie during this time. So those are normally plays that we see LeBron make, but he was not concerned about passing the ball at all. And it's kind of weird watching the game sometimes, because when you're looking at it and you're watching how the game is played now versus then, and you're just seeing how floor spacing works, it's kind of funny just even thinking about the fact that somebody's actually guarding Anderson Varejao right here. Like, he's not a jump shooter. He doesn't spread the floor at all. I know that Rip is sitting here in the paint, kind of not even paying attention to him all the way out there, but really, I would truly be over here, because I'm just like, I'm not even worried about Varejao doing anything. Obviously, you don't want to get 3 seconds, but that's just how little Varejao poses. It's a heck of a shot. That was such a fire shot, man.
Brent's defending on James. Goes to the step back and hits. That's 41 points for LeBron James, and he has scored 22 of the Cavaliers' last 23. Goes behind the back, and the game is tied at 104.
Like, he had Chauncey looking down. Like, Chauncey's trying to reach for the ball, and then LeBron just hits him with the smooth. Look at that. Chauncey didn't even know where he was going. Oh man, look at that. Excuse me.
That's too good right there. That was amazing. I've never seen him.
And this was the time period when LeBron didn't have the silencer. gotta love seeing it, the silencer. But this was the point in time when, remember, LeBron didn't have the greatest confidence in his jump shot either. So in terms of LeBron pulling up from deep and hitting these clutch mid-range shots, this was the point in time where a lot of people were questioning his mindset and if he had that dog in him, just to say, I don't care, I'm getting to the basket, or I'm gonna shoot whatever shot I want to shoot, and I'm not just gonna give the ball up to a teammate. And this game was really the first instance where LeBron did that, and that's why it was so iconic. And really, it's crazy how it's aged, because when you think about how many pivotal playoff performances he has now, it's just, I don't know where this game even ranks today. But I think so much goes into it because he did it against a #1 seed Pistons team. He did it against the team that had just won a championship, 2-3 years ago, against the Los Angeles Lakers teams with Kobe and Shaq, and a Pistons team that really didn't let Kobe and Shaq go off on them like that. So now this 22-year-old guy is coming through and giving them the business. And I know obviously the team aged, it changed, some of it changed, but still, it's LeBron versus the Pistons. You get what I'm saying? It's incredible to watch.
In the second overtime, it's James for three. Yes! And the game is
Look at that. He's not thinking about passing.
7.
This is unbelievable. This is Jordan-esque.
Very Michael Jordan-esque.
For LeBron James.
Like, look at this. Look where the double starts for him. Okay, look at where they start. Look at where they start the trap and where they start the hedge, right? Look how much ground LeBron is covering to run out to try and just get a little bit of a window. He is not thinking about passing this basketball to Anderson Varejao. He's not thinking about passing it to my man down here. He is just thinking about, how am I going to put this ball in the basket? And when stars get on a roll like this, it's truly something special to watch, because this is when they get into those heat check moments that they start hitting shots that are just unconscious. And that's what people really mean. Like, when you say somebody's unconscious from three, or they're unconsciously hitting shots, that means you're hitting jumpers and you're not thinking about it. You're just taking the shots.
Here's James for three. Yes! And the game is tied. 107.
This is unbelievable. This is Jordan-esque.
46 points for LeBron James. Single coverage with Phillips on James. Working it down. 5 seconds. 4, 3. James scores with 2.2 to go.
See, this play,
107.
that's the clutch in it, bringing it down. That's such an iconic layup. But the funny thing to me is that, dude, look at this. Look at the floor spacing, okay? And you know, one thing I will give credit to Mike Brown for, because people always say LeBron didn't have great coaches. And yeah, they weren't Greg Popovich's or Phil Jackson's, but his coaches were not stupid. That's the thing that blows me sometimes when people talk about these coaches. The Cavaliers were #1 in defense for many years, particularly in 2009, 2010, with Mike Brown as the coach. And that's how they won like 66 games in 2010 or 9, one of those 2 years. That's how you get those records, because you have the top defense in the league. And Mike Brown, what he was doing offense for defensive substitutions. So he would put Eric Snow in for defense and take him out and put a guy like Boobie Gibson in for floor spacing on offense. So LeBron had room to operate and could get to the rim. So when you're looking at the floor spacing here, look at all these guys. All shooters. The only non-shooter on the floor is Anderson Varejao. So that's why this lane opens up. But right here, I don't know what Jason Maxiell's doing.
Boy, I'm about to flame you.
I really don't know. It's like he steps in there halfway, kind of like, I want to get in the way of LeBron. This is really before LeBron was like, Bron. You know what I'm saying? Like before, like we had the
No. Oh my God, no. Oh no.
And before that happened, this is that LeBron. And so now it's like Maxiell looks like he's scared to get in front of him and take a charge. So that's one of those reasons why I'm like, why is he like slightly standing in the way, but then not fully in the way? And LeBron's able to just split through and get this layup. But this is really where I mean that, where I say he's not thinking about passing to anybody, because look at it. My man's like, I'm open. I'm open. He has his hands up. I'm not sure if that's Larry Hughes or if... No, I think that's Larry Hughes. And he's at the bottom just like, I'm open. LeBron's not even thinking about it.
.2 to go. The Cavaliers lead 109-107. 48 points for LeBron James. 48 points. We'll say it again.
Look at that.
The last
Bro.
5 for the Cavaliers.
You know how many laps you're running in practice?
Say it again.
What is this? What? Dog, you gotta do better. You gotta do better, my guy.
29 of the last 30. One of the great performances of all time.
The girl was hurt, man.
History, authored by LeBron James.
That performance is truly, it's as great as they come. So LeBron was 7 of 19 going into the game 5 fourth quarter. So just imagining how that all turns out. So, did you hear that? He scored 29 of the last 30 points and hit the last 11 field goals for the Cavs. The Cavs hadn't hit a field goal. No other player hit a field goal besides LeBron James. He hit 11 straight field goals for the team. That's absurd. It's kind of weird seeing how he had this kind of performance, and yet it was like 2011 happens with the Mavericks. It was so weird. It was such a crazy thing to watch. I love watching it, honestly, and I felt like I was blessed to see that. You know what I mean? And I would honestly implore everybody to go back and watch that performance if you can, because it was one of those things where you're watching NBA history being made, and I think that's underserved when talking about these kind of things, when you have these greats, these legends to go back and watch. Like, I feel like The Last Dance really shined a light on everybody on how great Michael Jordan was, but when you get to see a guy like LeBron, like, you're watching LeBron now, and seeing him hit 11 straight field goals, y'all, and these shots weren't easy. Like, he was, and it's one of those things that in today's NBA, it's easier to do something like that because, for one, the floor spacing is so spread out. And to do something like that back even in Jordan's time would have been tougher because everything was so clogged, and to get to the lane would have been tough. But this is even before the three-point revolution was really like that. Like, this is in the midst of what the Phoenix Suns were doing. So this was just crazy to watch. Like, LeBron James had 13 in the first half, 17 in the second half, and then the second, I took all these notes down. The second highest score was Ojunas Ilgauskas. The second highest score was Ilgauskas in the game. And so just think about that. It wasn't a guy like Dwayne Wade. It wasn't somebody like Kyrie Irving. It was Ojunas Ilgauskas in the game. You really see the performance that LeBron really had to pull out to help that team win. Seeing how much ease, like I said, how much ease he did that to the Pistons. That Pistons team had Chauncey and guys like Ben Wallace, Rip, Tayshaun. It was just the overwhelming sum of the parts that made that Pistons team so great. And LeBron was able to pretty much beat them by himself as 22-year-old. Like, that's incredible to talk about. It's just unreal. But guys, that's gonna wrap up for this video. Let me know you guys are, if you remember watching this game at the time when it came on. I always love watching old NBA games. I might do this more often, honestly, just so you guys feel like you're watching the games with me. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Make sure you do go down and leave a comment. Don't forget to do it. Of course, if you haven't already, make sure you're also subscribed to the KBR Sports Podcast, so you can get that on all podcast platforms. And make sure, of course, that you are subscribed to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future KBR Sports videos. And until next time, guys, please stay safe. Please make sure you're standing up for the right things in the world. And guys, until next time, I'm out.